Science is an amazing, wonderful undertaking. It teaches us about life, the world, and the universe, but it has not revealed why the universe came into existence, nor what preceded its birth in the Big Bang.
And it doesn't actually have to. And we actually do know what preceded the Big Bang. We had what was called a singularity. All of the mass and energy that is in the universe now was in that singularity. The difference between the universe and a singularity is that a singularity is packed in an infinitely dense spot. And maybe we don't quite know what exactly happened to cause the Big Bang. So what? That doesn't prove that God exists. And it certainly does not show that there is a lack of disproof in a God. That just shows that maybe we don't know everything.
Biological evolution has not brought us the slightest understanding of how the first living organisms emerged from inanimate matter on this planet.
Well, that's only true because biological evolution is not the same thing as abiogenesis, which is something that creationists simply don't understand. I'm not sure why. And we do have several explanations as to how abiogenesis can happen, and we have lots of experiments that indicate that such things are certainly possible. My favorite example being Sidney W. Fox, who managed to make entire protocells under conditions which were thought to be similar to the early Earth.
And how the advanced eukaryotic cells, the highly structured building blocks of advanced life forms, ever emerged from simpler organisms.
Well, we don't really know how it happened, but we do have very strong indication that it happened. And there are several hypotheses as to how eukaryotes could have formed. By no means is it impossible.
Neither does it explain one of the greatest mysteries of science. How did consciousness arise in living things? What is it that allows humans to understand the mysteries of biology, physics, mathematics, engineering, and medicine?
Actually, we do have explanations for that. That being the development of the brain, especially the cerebral cortex. And even then, there are lots of humans that aren't exactly capable of all too complex thought. And I'd argue that looking in differences in intelligence can show evolution within humans.
Science is nowhere near explaining these deep mysteries.
The paper that David's quoting is going to keep asserting that there are bigger holes in scientific thought than there really are. And this article can do this because it doesn't take somebody with advanced scientific knowledge to write an article in the opinion section of Time magazine. I mean, look at these other articles that are pretty much on par.
We continue the quote. But much more important than these conundrums is the persistent question of the fine-tuning of the parameters of the universe. Why is our universe so precisely tailor-made for the emergence of life?
It's not. I mean, it's really not. Almost the entire universe is completely hostile to life. And yes, the universe does exist in a way that allows life to emerge. But as for why, there's absolutely no reason. The universe and nature exist the way that they do. But they don't care that they exist. They don't care that they exist in any certain way. And they don't care that we exist. We are just a product of the universe existing the way that it does.
It appears that there is a vast hidden wisdom or structure or knotty blueprint for even the most simple-looking element of nature.
To you, random person of Time magazine, I don't really understand this argument because it basically boils down to, this is really cool. God must have done that.
We know that 13.7 billion years ago, a gargantuan burst of energy, whose nature and source are completely unknown to us and not in the least understood by science, initiated the creation of our universe.
It wasn't the creation of the universe, it was the formation of the universe. And even then, that's a very weird way to put it, but kind of. Anything that early in the Big Bang is highly speculative, and we don't have all the answers. So what?
Then suddenly, as if by magic, the God particle, the Higgs boson, discovered 2 years ago, came into being and miraculously gave the universe its mass. Why did this happen? The mass constituted elementary particles, the quarks and the electron, whose weights and electrical charges had to fall within immeasurably tight bounds for what would happen next. For from within the primeval soup of elementary particles that constituted the young universe, again, as if by a magic hand, the quarks suddenly bunched in threes to form protons and neutrons, their electrical charges set precisely to the exact level needed to attract and capture the electrons, which then began to circle nuclei made of the protons and neutrons. All of the masses, charges, and forces of interaction in the universe had to be in just the precisely needed amount so that early light atoms could form. Eventually, the highly complicated double helix molecule, the life-propagating DNA, would be formed.
As cool as that may or may not sound, it's total nonsense. Anything that early in the Big Bang is highly speculative. And if I were to look up anything that he said here, as I did try to do, I wouldn't find anything akin to what he's suggesting. The Higgs boson is actually a good explanation of why mass exists. It's not like it just randomly decided to make mass, it's what it does. And even then, we don't really know that the Higgs boson actually exists. And the magic hand that you allege is guiding this process is really just the fundamental forces. And maybe we don't completely understand the nature of those forces, but that doesn't automatically mean intelligent design. And as far as nuclei needing to be an exact charge to attract electrons, that's nonsense. It doesn't matter what the charge, as long as it's greater than 0, it will attract electrons. And the charge needs to be above a certain low level in order to have electrons circle around it. And yes, the universe had to be exactly the way that it is in order for it to work exactly the way that it works. If things were different, things would be different. We can't say that that would be good or bad. And abiogenesis has nothing to do with this.
Why did everything we need to exist come into being?
The answer is no reason. The universe doesn't care that we're here. We just happen to be able to form in this kind of universe. I understand that this may be difficult to grasp for some people, but there doesn't have to be a reason.
How was all of this possible without some latent outside power to orchestrate the precise dance of elementary particles required for the creation of all the essentials of life? The great British mathematician Roger Penrose has calculated...
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. He goes on to show a calculation of an unscientific, highly speculative idea that he then quantifies, even though the idea is unquantifiable in nature. And he then gets surprised at having such a ridiculous number. But let's watch a bit more before I explain further.
The incredible fine-tuning of the universe presents the most powerful argument for the existence of an immanent creative entity we may well call God.
No. Let's say that your argument was completely valid and accurate. You've only shown the probability of these things happening by random chance. And since that has a such low probability, that doesn't mean it's impossible, but it does indicate that there may be a process in which these things happened. And instead of pointing to processes that we already know of, you assert that it absolutely has to be intelligent design, which is not the way this works. If you say it's intelligent design, you need evidence for the fact that it's intelligent design, not just disproving ideas that we already have. If we're wrong, that doesn't mean you're right. But even if it did indicate intelligent design, there's nothing saying that it's your God.
With all that we have examined, why are there not more scientists coming out in support of God's existence?
Simple. Nothing that you've said in any of your videos is scientific. And on that note, I'm ending this series. Now, David has a lot more video to go through, but honestly, it's just him spouting the same things over and over again. Namely, irreducible complexity, the incredible odds of a universe forming out of random chance, and of course him fervently telling us how ridiculous atheists are. He even reads some educational media and leaves some less than honest commentary, some of which directly contradicts what he's reading.
And that's why we can't afford to leave it in the hands of a powerful few, unless they're scientists. The more science belongs to all of us, the less likely it is to be misused, meaning by religionists.
And the entire last half hour of his videos is just him reading out of the Bible, pretty much. So I don't think that there's anything left of David's that I could make into a watchable video. But throughout the entire making of this series, there's one thing that bothered me a lot, and that's the thing that he does with his mouth. Here's what I mean.
Christian, to please him. Or now, study time. Yes, the consider idiom else verse available later day app on city yes see possible ism I fail them command teacher learned Mary act is my solving on the word I'm possible nonsensical drivel them. Sincerely wrong. Them, truly, that being, this, two,
Does that drive anyone else nuts? Anyways, if you really like this series, not all hope is lost. I've recently posted the first episode of a new series of a different guy on a different show that seems oddly similar to David's here. But it's going to start covering a new topic which may become prevalent within this channel, and that is Bible prophecy. Anyways, this is hiith saying,
Poppycock! Are you grasping all of this?